Happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Halloween, Sigmas. It's Zoom Beanie back again with another super scary video. Today I am going to do the history of Five Nights at Freddy's, the scariest game franchise on Earth. So you guys are prepared to piss your pants. It's gonna be pretty scary. Speaking of scary, I went to a haunted house the other night and look at what they gave me. This is pretty cool, right? Pretty Sigma. So I'm gonna wear this for the rest of the video when you guys see me. So, let's get straight to the spookiness. Whoa. Here we have Scott Cawthon, a man who lives in Texas with an admirable dedication to God. Throughout his career for the past 20 years or so, he has tried time and time again to make content for kids that teaches them about the Christian faith. Multiple projects, games which he made on his own, and movies which he helped write, all flopped. His games, while they generally received good reviews, were not commercially viable. And with the release of his new game, Chipper and Sons, nothing changed. Critics said that the game felt like a creepy, Chuck E. Cheese simulator, and that all the characters looked like animatronics that were going to eat your face off.
Was that the bite of 87?
This really affected Scott in a way that nothing had before, and it brought him down very low, even bringing thoughts of ending it all and collecting the life insurance on his life because he felt like he wasn't offering anything to his family. And he began to question his faith in God. He asked God to somehow use him and to bring some purpose into his life. But then after that, an idea came into his head. Why, if everyone's saying that my characters are scary, why don't I make something purposefully scary? Five Nights at Freddy's is what Scott Cawthon came up with, and it was released on August 8th, 2014 on Steam after the project kind of shit the bed while trying to crowdsource. The game pretty much blew up immediately with a bunch of YouTubers making videos about the game days after its release, most notably Markiplier.
Purple guy!
Now what was interesting about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is that it wasn't the gameplay, it wasn't the jump scares that really intrigued people. I mean, that was probably part of it, because it was, the new sensation. But it was the hidden lore behind the entire game, because on certain occasions, the posters that decorated the walls of the restaurant would change into newspaper clippings that would mention strange odors coming from the animatronics and children going missing, and the restaurant being shut down due to the foul odors. Made a mystery golden bear that just would pop up in your fucking office and just crash your entire game and explode your PC. The game was surrounded in this shroud of mystery, and I think that's what really captivated people on this franchise early on. And Scott Cawthon obviously knew that. He saw that within like 2 weeks of his game releasing, people were automatically making videos that got millions of views. And so he decided to squirt out a second game, FNAF 2, which is personally my favorite, simply because it has more animatronics and it's more of a challenge, and I also like when this little asshole steals my batteries. And this game came out not even a year later, like in November of 2014. Like the first one, it introduced new mechanics, which of course you've got to do when you are making a second game to keep people intrigued, but he also sprinkled more lore in there with the addition of hidden mini-games, which would sometimes appear after completing a night. And these would show how the animatronics came to be. They would show the puppet, which is one of the new animatronics in the second game, giving gifts to the dead bodies of children, which would then put masks of the former animatronics on their heads. This kind of raised the question, what the hell happened in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria? This is also what intrigued people, and people like Matt Pat, is that there was such an underlying story, and it seemed to be a really good one, that a lot of people weren't noticing. And one minigame I want to bring up is the one where you play as Freddy and you're giving cake to a bunch of different kids and they get pissed off if you don't serve them fast enough. Because if you'll notice, in the very top, at the entrance of the restaurant, you'll notice a little kid being locked out of the restaurant. And then a purple car pull up, a man get out, and the child seemingly is murdered. And this links us to the perpetrator of these crimes. The purple guy is what he was deemed because he was represented by a purple sprite at the time. And from the phone calls that you'd get in the beginning of the game, they mentioned someone wearing a suit and luring kids into the back.
are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
Which just added to the mystery and was really adding onto the story. Like, what is going on here? Why is this guy murdering children in a pizzeria? What the hell is up with you, Purple Man? Now we come to 2015, and this is when the third game, FNAF 3, is released. And FNAF 3 was obviously different. After the second game, FNAF really started to get a fan base, and this is where I came in because I was like 7 or 8 at the time, and I watched Markiplier and Jacksepticeye as a child normally does, and I was so intrigued in this new series, and it scared the shit out of me because I remember I had a little Kindle and I'd play the first one for free. And I would close both the doors and just wait for Freddy to kill me because I was too terrified of having to deal with Bonnie or Chica. So I just let him jump scare me. And I would run across the living room and just let it happen over there while I'm on the other side of the room. And I just had that epiphany while I was making this video. And I just thought that was funny to mention. But anyways, back to FNAF 3. It was noticeably different than the other two because, number one, why is this game so fucking green? It looks like a baby pooped all over the screen. It does not look the greatest, I'm not gonna lie. I think it was a necessary change of pace from the first two games where it actually was coherent in what you could see. And it also added to a unique atmosphere to the game that the other ones kind of really don't have. It just shows the nastiness of the location you're at, which is Fazbear's Fright, some dingy horror attraction based off the things that had happened at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the alleged child murders and whatnot. And fun fact, this game took place in 2023 in canon, so you're living in FNAF 3 happened last year, guys. And another notable difference of the game is that the animatronics didn't kill you. The phantom animatronics are phantoms. They're simply ghosts, and all they do is when they jump scare you, they really just fuck up your vents and your cameras to where you can't see, and the air quality will go down. And it just makes the game harder if you don't try to fix it. And there was only one real animatronic, and that was Springtrap, and he was this nasty looking motherfucker. He was so gross. I remember just being like nastied out by him. Like, he was so nasty, dude. And the reason he was so nasty is because, like the other games, FNAF 3 had some secret minigames that showed what the hell was going on. And I think that FNAF 3 was such a brilliant end to the whole franchise, and I think this is where it should have ended here, at least for advancing the story into the future. And a lot of the minigames, well, let's get to the main thing, what I'm talking about. So, in the second game, there is a minigame where you play as the different, and this is the third one, but there is a minigame where you play as the 4 classic animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and you follow Shadow Freddy, and he keeps saying, follow me, follow me, follow me, and you walk throughout the entire pizzeria, but you can't ever make it past Purple Guy, who runs up to you and immediately dismantles you, and this happens to all 4 animatronics until eventually you play as one of the crying children, which is one of the children that was murdered. And unfortunately for Purple Guy, the reason he was dismantling the animatronics is to get rid of the spirits that are stuck in the animatronics, which he knows are there, and have been hunting and killing the security guards, which they've mistaken as him. And so he goes back to dismantle, and what they do is they find him, and they corner him in the back rooms of the restaurant. And what he does, he scurries around, he's shitting his pants and britches, and then he sees his old suit. Purple Guy climbs into the suit, puts it on, and laughs as he thinks he's won. And then the suit goes off, because you see, and this is what Springtrap is. He is the one behind all of FNAF. And if you get the good ending in the game, which there are multiple endings, if you burn down Fazbear's Fright with Springtrap inside of it, then you get the good ending, and you set the children free, and you finally put an end to all this bullshit that has happened. And I think that's such a great send-off. I think that's such a brilliant way to end the story, at least advancing wise. Now, after FNAF 3, which is a logical conclusion to the future part of the story, setting the children free and killing the man who was responsible for all this agony and pain. But Scott did the smart thing and made his next two games prequels. And this brings us to FNAF 4, which we play as a crying child, who experiences terrible nightmares of the animatronics. And I'm going off my memory here because I'm like the GOAT of all time when it comes to FNAF lore. His older brother terrorizes him throughout the nights, and in between these nights, we play as him going to the original Freddy's location called Fredbear's Family Diner, in which his father owns it. And he is just absolutely terrified of the animatronics. Like, he is just scared shitless. And he has this little teddy bear of Fredbear who encourages him and talks to him and just talks him through, life. And as the nights advance, we get to the last one, and we see him going in there, and his brother and his brother's friends are bullying him as they usually do. But this time they say, "Why don't we take him to go give Fredbear a kiss?" And as any child does, he squirms and kicks as they carry him to the stage where they see Fredbear. And what they do is they take him, put him in Fredbear's mouth, and Fredbear bites down and kills the child. After this, it can be implied that his father was speaking to him through the Fredbear plush, as he says that he will put him back together. And this is where FNAF 4 ends. And I think that's a pretty good prequel, all things considered. Now, the fifth game, I think, is probably the most revolutionary out of the FNAF franchise. This is simply due to the fact that it has so much going on gameplay-wise that, I honestly think it's like the best game when you're talking about FNAF, right? Because you're going to all these different rooms, you're moving around, you're actually doing things in the game, which is actually insane. I can't believe they added movement into FNAF, am I right? But this game also brought up more lore-wise, and this introduced us to the fact that Purple Guy was the man who built the robots, the animatronics that inhabit Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He's one of the founders of the restaurant, and his name is William Afton. We actually can put a name on this one guy. It also shows us the fact that he has children, one of which was a little girl who really had an interest in this one animatronic he made named Baby. And she was a part of the series, the Funtime animatronics. And something special about the Funtime animatronics is that they were specifically designed to kill kids. This guy just couldn't get enough of that children murder. What a weirdo. But he specifically told her, stay away from that robot. For good reason, But she didn't listen, and she goes up to the robot one day, and she's killed by it. This is just the second death of one of William Afton's children due to his own creations, because in the fourth game, the child that gets munched on by Fredbear, that was his kid. That was his youngest son. Guess who his oldest brother is? His oldest brother is Michael, the guy you've been playing as in most of the FNAF games. From 1 to 2 to 3 to now, you are Michael Afton. And what's unfortunate about him is that he gets his guts scooped out and is infested by the spirits of the children who inhabit, the Funtime animatronics, and that's just no fun. And so pretty much you're just a husk that walks around until, you start rotting and you turn actually purple. And then, the animatronics, they leave you. Your little sister chants, you won't die, and then you just get back up. You just go on about your day, I guess. Now, quite honestly, from a story standpoint, I think that Sister Location would be a great place to stop making games for it. At least games that aren't spin-offs, like FNAF World, which I forgot to mention, but that was released in between FNAF 4 and Sister Location, and it was a fun little RPG. It's more of a Scott Cawthon game than it is a FNAF game. It's kind of got mixed reviews in the community. I like it personally. But anyways, I think that it would have been fine just making merch for the series, maybe make a movie that's been in development for the past, indefinite amount of years. And, just have FNAF be a franchise and leave it alone. But someone in the business sector probably didn't want that because FNAF was a cash cow. Like, Funko was making an ass ton of money off the merch. And we'll talk about Funko later. Someone probably told Scott Cawthon, hey, make some more games, fucker, or we're gonna kick your ass. And he did with FNAF 6, the Pizzeria Simulator. And in my opinion, FNAF Pizzeria Simulator isn't bad, but it's unnecessary because it's not a prequel, it's not anything like that. It adds on to the story that was concluded in FNAF 3. And you play as Michael Afton, which is where you went after you got back up from, being possessed by robots. And you go to the newest Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, which I have no clue how this shit is still open. And, during the daytime, you operate the restaurant by buying supplies and buying animatronics. And one of the cool mechanics is you can, get free animatronics from the street, which are totally not suspicious at all, for free. But during the night, they hunt you down and try to kill you, which, is not fun, but I think that's a pretty cool mechanic. And I like Pizzeria Simulator for the fact that it's a simulator, and I think that there should just be a game where you just build your own pizzeria, quite honestly, because I really like this mechanic. I think that'd be just a cool game to play, But yeah, the story is that at the very end, you find out that the guy who's behind opening this location and luring all these animatronics in is Henry, William Afton's partner, the guy who's running the business part of the business. And his child is the one that was murdered outside of the Freddy Fazbear's restaurant in FNAF 2 and was possessed and possesses the puppet. Her name's Emily. And pretty much what the game does is tie up all the loose ends that have been left behind by the other games, such as the puppet and the sister location animatronics and Baby, which for some reason got kicked out of the whole collective. Springtrap, oddly enough, I don't know how he survived, but he looks completely different. I don't know how Peepaw Afton managed to crawl his way out of the old suit and get into a new one and look 10 times uglier, but he managed. It ends with Henry giving the hardest dialogue ever and pretty much burning down the entire restaurant with all the animatronics, himself, and you inside of it. And the game ends with all the loose ends of the FNAF franchise being tied up, all the souls being set free, all the pain and suffering caused by William Afton is finally over. Alright, gamers, I hope you guys enjoyed all that spooky, scary stuff. I didn't go over, the entire, history of the FNAF franchise. I went over, the storyline, which I was planning on doing, the whole merchandising and other games type shit, but I didn't want to talk about FNAF Security Breach because that's lame as hell. But yeah, don't get too scared, guys. Halloween's over. It's November 1st. Let's get this bread. But yeah, I originally recorded this at night, the outro at night, but I deleted it from my phone because I'm a goober. But yeah, ignore the TV back there. I'm gaming on Sonic Generations. A video will come about that soon, along with another surprise. I have that. I have the thumbnail made for you, so I'll probably post that some other time. But yeah, hope you guys like this video. This is the October upload. If you say otherwise, you're a bitch. Anyways, have a good day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you clean up your britches afterwards. Make sure. And I hope you guys have a great day. Have a great night. God bless and bye.